Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 13 of the Poems and Stories series. Today's will be a little bit differently. So it's going to have an intro and then followed by a few short poems or snippets to go with that intro. So today's title is Aesop. Whether Aesop ever existed in the flesh, where he was born, how he lived and died, and what he had to do with the fables connected with his name, are all questions about which there is much dispute. Old stories tell us that he was born about 550 years before the time of Christ, where we do not know, though a number of places claim to honor. He is said to have been a shepherd's boy and afterwards a slave. He was deformed and remarkably ugly. Under his first master, he was well educated, and since it was the custom then to set forth wisdom in proverbs and fables, he seems to have taken up those forms of composition. He may simply have retold old fables of Eastern countries, as it is certain many of his stories are older than the date given to his life. A later master was so pleased with his wit and wisdom that he gave Aesop his freedom. Croesus, the famous king of Lydia, invited him to visit his court. There he is said to have met Solon and other wise men and to have shown himself in every way their equal. In fact, he went ahead of them in cleverness. Croesus, expecting a compliment, asked whom they considered the happiest man. Solon, refusing to flatter a king, tediously gave some instances. But Aesop replied that Croesus was as much above others in happiness as the sea is above others, as the sea is supreme over all rivers. The delighted monarch exclaimed, "The Phrygian has hit the mark." And this has passed into proverb. When asked what God was doing, Aesop replied, "He is depressing the proud and lifting up the humble." Many stories of his good humor and merry jests have also come down to us. He is said to have met his death at the hands of the people of Delphi, where Croesus had sent him to offer sacrifices to Apollo and to distribute a great sum of money. He was so disgusted with the kind of life he saw there that he told the Delphians that what an unfavorable opinion he had of them, and returned the money to his patron. The angry Delphians trumped up a charge against him and took him by treachery. In spite of his attempt to save himself by telling a fable to fit the case, they threw him from a high rock. The old stories further tell us that a plague was sent upon the Delphians for this foul deed, and their land was made barren. Aesop did not write out his fables, but recited them, and they were handed down from memory. Over 2 centuries later, an Athenian wrote down the fables as they were then told, and still later a Greek named Babrius, made another collection of them. For 1,000 years they were lost to memory until a copy of the collection made by Babrius was found in the monastery of Mount Athos in 1844. It is from this collection that later translations have been made. It is hard to say how much truth there is in these old legends, but it is certain that the fables that go by Aesop's name have never lost their hold upon the world, and are as full of wisdom for our time as they were for the past. The Peacock's Complaint. The peacock complained to Juno that while everyone laughed at his voice, an insignificant creature like the nightingale had a note that delighted all listeners. Juno, angry at the unreasonableness of her favorite bird, scolded him in the following terms. "Envious bird that you are, I am sure that you have no cause to complain. On your neck shine all the colors of the rainbow, and your extended tail gleams like a mass of gems. No living being has every good thing to its own share. The falcon is endowed with swiftness, the eagle strength, the parrot speech, the raven the gift of augury, and the nightingale with a melodious note. while you have both size and beauty. Cease then to complain, or the gifts you have shall be taken away. Contentment is the source of every joy. Aesop. The Boasting Traveler. A man was one day entertaining a crowd with an account of the wonders he had done when abroad on his travels. I was once at Rhodes, he said, and the people of Rhodes, you know, are famous for jumping. Well, I took a jump there that no other man could come within a yard of. That's a fact. And if we were there, I could bring you 10 men who would prove it. What need is there to go to Rhodes for witnesses? Asked one of the hearers. Just imagine that you are there now and show us your leap. Seeing is believing. Aesop. The body and its members. The members of the body once rebelled against him. They said he led an idle, lazy life at their expense. The hands declared that they would not again lift a crust, even to keep him from starving. The mouth that it would not take in a bit more food, the legs that they would carry him no longer, and so on with the others. The body quietly allowed them to follow their own courses, well knowing that they would all soon die to their senses, as indeed they did, when, for want of the blood and nourishment supplied from the stomach, they found themselves fast becoming mere skin and bone. No one can live to himself. Aesop. Hercules and the Wagoner. As a wagoner was driving his team through a miry lane, the wheels stuck fast in the clay, and the horses could get no further. The man dropped on his knees and began crying and praying to Hercules with all his might to come and help him. Lazy fellow, said Hercules, get up and stir yourself. Whip your horses stoutly and put your shoulder to the wheel. If you want my help, then you shall have it. Heaven helps those who help themselves. Aesop. Find a way. The greatest thing that a boy and a girl can carry with them out into the world to win success is grit. Here is a poem based upon a story of a noble Roman who would not admit that a castle fortress was too hard to capture. On, cried the valiant Roman. I'll find a way, or make it. If nobody else has done the thing you want to do, so that you can follow in his footsteps, do as the noble Roman did. Make your own road to success. Either follow the best way that others have made, or have enough initiative to hoe out your own path. But never give up. Don't be the coward croaker or the quitter of the poem. It was a noble Roman in Rome's imperial day who heard a coward croaker before the castle say, "They are safe in such a fortress, there is no way to shake it." On, exclaimed the hero. I'll find a way, or make it. Is fame your aspiration? Her path is steep and high. In vain you seek her temple, content to gaze and sigh. The shining throne is waiting, but he alone can take it, who says with Roman firmness, I'll find a way, or make it. Is learning your ambition? There is no royal road. Alike the peer and peasant must climb to her abode. Who feels the thirst for knowledge, and Helicon may slake it, if he has still the Roman will, to find a way, or make it. Are riches worth the getting? They must be bravely sought. With wishing and with fretting, the boon cannot be bought. To all the prize is open, but only he can take it, who says with Roman courage, I'll find a way, or make it. John G. Sachs. The owls, the bats, and the sun. The owls, bats, and several other birds of night used to meet together in a thick shade where they abused their neighbors in every sociable manner. Their satire at last fell upon the sun, whom they all agreed to be very troublesome, impertinent, and inquisitive. The sun chanced to overhear these critics, but contented himself with replying, Ladies, I care little for your opinion. but I wonder how you dare abuse one who could, in an instant, destroy you. However, the only answer I shall give you, or the revenge I shall take on you, is to shine on. Gossips are best answered by silence. Aesop. Good timber. The tree that never had to fight for sun and sky and air and light, that stood out in the open plain and always got its share of rain, never became a forest king, but lived and died a scrubby thing. The man who never had to toil, who never had to win his share of sun and sky and light and air, never became a manly man, but lived and died as he began. Good timber does not grow in ease, the stronger wind, the tougher trees. The farther sky, the greater length, the more the storm, the more the strength. By sun and cold, by rain and snows, in tree or man, good timber grows. Where thickest stands the forest growth, we find the patriarchs of both. And they hold converse with the stars, whose broken branches show the scars of many winds and much of strife. This is the common law of life. Anonymous. Thank you so much for listening to this. Tomorrow we will get into the next section with the last two poems. If you like what you're hearing and you enjoy listening to these stories, please go ahead and like and subscribe. And I hope to see you back tomorrow. Thank you so much and have a great day.